Hello to you again. There's a German expression which runs Springer am Rand bringt Schand, which effectively translates into English to mean a knight on the edge of the board brings trouble. So really perhaps I shouldn't have considered playing the opening that will appear in this game whatsoever, but I did play it anyway. This was a game with 10 minutes on either side, and it was comparatively easy for me to remember the moves without actually recording them. So I'll give you the game as it went. The opening move is knight h3. Now this is known as the Dunst opening, and it's reckoned to be inadvisable to play it. I don't know of any literature on this. Certainly the couple of remaining chess books that I own. I had a library of over 100 at one stage, but I gave most of them away to one person or another. But the two that I have left doesn't mention them, but I do recall the name from a volume that I once owned, Dunst. So how did Black respond to this? Well, what I was expecting was this, and I intended, because he's hitting the knight, I intended to do a spike here. And if he'd taken the pawn off, which he undoubtedly would have done, I would have come like this and taken the G line. If he'd take the knight, then the bishop is homing down here. I don't know whether that's sound. I didn't really think too much about it. I thought, well, if he plays d5, I'll give it a go and see what happens. But I was quite surprised when he replied with e5. So how did I deal with this? Well, I sort of went into a bird's opening. Now, by transposition, you can do quite a lot here. With the knight not being under attack, you can go ahead and do it. Well, he took the pawn off, which is fair enough, and I took the pawn back. Now, what is interesting to note, should he come like this check, hitting the knight, you just play it to here, and you gain a tempo, and then you can develop your bishop without any problem at all. So he eschewed that one, and instead he played d5, which I think is the correct move. So he does play d5 eventually. So I played here, now snuffing out any possibility of queen h4. So he came here. This is the correct move, incidentally, because the fact is this pawn is defended, because if he takes here, black comes back with check and regains the piece, and it interferes with white's pawn structure. So it's not a good idea to take that. Instead, this is a preferable move, I found. So it's covering the knight here. So if you should have any idea of taking it, you play bishop f4. So he developed with knight f6. So far, black's play is acceptable, I would say, in this line. But I think also so is mine. I hadn't prepared any of this because he took me by surprise. It's me wanting to take him by surprise, but it's a roll-on for my Oliver, I suppose you could say. So fair dues. That's after 6 bishop g2. So what did he play here? Well, I think he should have played c6 or castles. What he did, he took this bishop away, and I think it's preferable to leave it on this diagonal, but he plonked it here. What he's saying to me is, if you play c3, you're taking away the natural square for your knight. If you play knight c3, I'm going to whip it off and double your pawns, and if you play bishop to here, then I'll exchange bishops, and I might have a decent position as a result of that with this bishop gone, because this can be dangerous, as will be seen in due course. So I played here. I didn't want to play c3, and I didn't want to lose the bishop. So he took the knight, and I accepted that my pawns are doubled. So he played c6. He played it now. I still don't really see anything wrong with his position here at the moment. So I castled. Now, he was waiting for me to do this. As Dr. Alakeen, writing in the book of the New York Tournament of 1924 put it, waiting for a player to commit himself to a certain position before the opponent reveals his intentions, which is what he'd done here. He was wanting me to castle before playing his next move. Can you see what it possibly could have been? Well, I think he should have castled, because I've castled on the side. He should do the same. Or if he's hell-bent on doing something a bit different, he could have played to here, develop his knight, queen, and then castle king, queenside. I think that would have been preferable. The move that he actually played was to here. He's trying to take advantage, as he sees it, of this. It's not a weak position. I have the F line, the semi-open F line. So how did I continue? Well, I played to here, and the idea here is homing down on this. Incidentally, in passing, with him creating double pawns here, he has of course opened the B line for me, and he's also enabled me to play bishop a3, and that will feature in one of the variations that could have been played, but it didn't happen, but I'll show it to you anyway. So that's after 10 queen d3. He continued to here. Now that is a mistake. He should have possibly considered playing maybe bishop e6 and, like I say, developing on the queen side and castling on the queen side. He could, I suppose, have castled on the king side as well, but what he's done there is given me an opportunity to seize this game by the scruff of the neck. Can you see what white's next move is? It's white to make his 11th move. We're only 10 moves into this game, in fact. Can you see what the next move is for white? Well, it's this. And you see, what I'm saying here is, if you don't want to lose that rook, you're going to lose this pawn to knight takes h4. That's why h4 was a mistake. He didn't see it coming, as he admitted. So he doesn't want to lose that pawn, but really the move that he plays is disastrous because he takes the knight. And so, like I said earlier, when I played queen d3, I was eyeing over this. Now that's check. Now he doesn't want to lose this, so of course he plays king f8. It's the only acceptable move. So how did I continue here? Well, I played g4 and I'm heading for g5, aren't I? See, there's no possibility of launching a counter-attack rook h6 because the bishop is stopping him. What can he do there? Just take a good look at that. Well, if he tries this, for instance, it's doomed to failure for the simple reason that you can play like this. Check. And then when he moves here, you can take the knight. Or, if you like, you could even take the knight at once. Because if he takes back, queen here, king there, and then bishop a3. So any of those lines would work admirably. No problem at all. So he didn't play queen e8. Incidentally, in case you're wondering, the knight cannot take this because the knight's pinned. If the bishop should take it, the queen can recapture and win a piece because the knight is still pinned. So what he did is he unpinned his king, which is not a solution. So what did I do here? Well, of course, I marched on with this. Now, at this stage, should he try this, then all that we need to do is to take here. And he's no time for taking this bishop because it will be queen g7 mate. Incredible, isn't it? So what did he do? He didn't push on. He's more or less paralyzed here. Again, if he tries queen here, then rook f6. So no matter where he puts his knight, he's going to get checkmated in 2 more moves. Can you believe that? But it's true. Well, he chose this square. It doesn't make any odds whatsoever. Test it for yourselves. Can you see the finish? Well, this is the first in the mating process, queen f7. He plays to here. Now, I'm not satisfied with a perpetual, but I am satisfied with a checkmate, and that is a checkmate in 16 moves, which is pretty good going, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed that one. Yet again, it proves that you can muck around with openings to your heart's content, especially in these short games, and more often than not get away with it. All the best to you in your chess. I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye for now.